guys, Eric here, your final expense expert. I want to go over an important topic today, and that is 5 things that make a final expense policy a true final expense program, right? There's a lot of companies out there that have seen the popularity of final expense policies, especially with my company spearheading this industry. And they don't really help out families. They don't really work in the true way that a final expense policy works. So whether you're an agent and representing a final expense company, trying to learn more about the business, or as a client doing research, doing some due diligence on what a true policy should look like when it comes to final expense, you're going to be able to get a lot of value from this, right? So the first thing that you're going to look at when you're shopping around or representing a final expense company is the money made available quickly, right? Most of these companies, you guys, are not going to move a finger. They're not going to pay a policy until they get a death certificate. If you've ever lost a loved one or been involved with the final arrangements of someone passing, the quickest I've ever seen it, and it was rather quick and it was rare, is a week, right? But most of the time it's going to be 2 to 3 weeks and sometimes more. It can take up to that, even longer. So a life insurance program, it doesn't pay until weeks or months later. The bigger the policy, the longer it's going to take. And even these companies that say, yeah, we pay within 24 hours, they're a final expense program. What they really mean, if you really read the small print from the policy that they provide you once you sign with them, or even ask their customer service or the agent if they're honest. Most agents are, but some people that are just going to say what you want to hear so they can tell you the policy. But if you do your own research and look at the small print, it's there. They will pay within 24 hours of receiving that death certificate. And again, what good is it to receive money after the fact? You've already come up with the money yourself. You have to put it in a credit card or have to do the GoFundMe's online or the car washes. People are living paycheck to paycheck more than ever and don't have a few $1,000s just sitting for an emergency, unfortunately, right? My company, you guys, is the only one in America, to my knowledge, that pays within 24 hours with no death certificate. I haven't heard of any other company come close. And how it works is because we're willing to provide 80% of the policy with no death certificate, a simple call to the agent to get to assist them with that process. And to be transparent of how that works, the agent is taking the responsibility of that money. So if it was a false claim, which honestly is super rare, it can happen, very slim chance, and that's what the company allows us to do it. I am taking my client's family's word for it, right? But I met them. I sat down with at least the client, sometimes family members. If I have doubts, I might not do it, but I haven't though, because obviously everyone that has happened, it was true and they provided a death certificate. But anyways, we're able to provide 80% of the money right away. No questions asked. All they got to do is provide whether they want a check mailed to them to their address. We can do that. Or what I recommend to my clients' beneficiaries to get it quicker is a direct deposit, right? So they just provide me a voided check, a picture of it. They send me a bank statement with their account number, their name, to make sure we get the right information, and they get the money right away. I've had clients or families of clients, beneficiaries, call early in the morning, 8, 9, 10 a.m., and they have the money by that night. Sometimes we did it till noon until later in the afternoon, and they got the money the next business day, right? But they woke up to the money a lot of those times, and they're super grateful, thankful that the money is made available quickly to provide that assistance. It's not, to pay back the credit cards or pay back people that let them borrow money. I mean, what's the point? Why call it a final expense policy if they're not taking care of the final expenses, right? And when we can provide 80% of the money right away, most of the time, that's enough to cover everything. And then the last 20% is just the extra money that's going to go to the family for all those little other expenses that we don't think about, right? Sometimes they got to clean out the mom's apartment to turn it in back to management or whatever it might be, get the house ready to sell it. I mean, there's a lot of things that happen. People have to travel, take days from work. So most of the time our clients, do get obviously money for them after everything's said and done and paid for. But that's the first thing, is paying quickly to take care of those final expenses, right? Number 2 is actually how easy it is to qualify for a policy, a said final expense program. Because again, many companies out there, they're just a life insurance company, but they want to use a final expense moniker to make them their product more attractive and try to get some of that clientele that might be looking for something like that. But they're very strict. They won't qualify if they have diabetes. They won't qualify if they have certain health situations. Obviously, some chronic illnesses that a lot of companies won't insure. For example, people that might have cancer currently or in the past, people that have organ transplants, heart complications or problems, strokes or aneurysms in their past history, um, Alzheimer, dementia. These are some of the things that my company will insure. And to be clear, my company can insure just about anyone, almost, right? But the only things that my company can't do is AIDS or being given 12 months to live, right? Or those little obvious ones like someone's in the hospital, hospice care, bedridden, things like that nature, right? But even HIV, we can insure in California. And if you don't live in California, you can have someone sponsor you, if you will, be the owner of your policy. And you can live in a different state, but as long as the owner has an address in California, you can do it. You can get insurance as well with my company. But again, the ease to qualify, because a lot of people that we talk to on a regular basis have unfortunately recently been given a diagnostic, right, of cancer, of heart condition, of something severe. And now they're really thinking about their family and leave them with some protection and not leave the burden of their final expenses on them. And what's the point of saying you're a final expense company when you're not helping people that are in a dire situation that need it? Because unfortunately, yeah, their health took a turn for the worse, but we can. My company will, and only 9 health questions, and we look at what medicines they take. We do a prescription check, and that gives a idea of which plan they qualify for, and it's really just A or B. 80% of our clients qualify for our A plan, which is immediate coverage. About 20% are going to be our B plan, which is going to be, a graded or there's a grace period, if you will, with the coverage. But we can insure them, we can protect them, and we explain how that works, right, during the policy process. But we really, in my 10 years plus I've been here, you guys, very few people have I run into that actually were in hospice care because their daughter called and she wanted to get insurance on her mom. I told her it's too late. This is something that you do before this, ma'am. Now you're gonna have to go direct with the funeral home or with the cremation center, but she can't be in hospice when you get this, right? Um, 12 months to live. I have had about, I'm gonna say, less than 5 people I've met that did have 12 months to live or less, unfortunately, and they didn't qualify. But besides that, just about everyone I've talked to have been able to qualify. The other caveat is 85 years of age or younger. If you're 86 or older, unfortunately, there's really no company in America that will give you coverage for something like this. Again, you would have to resort to like a funeral home directly or a cremation center, and they can help you out in that situation, right? Number 3 is making sure that it's a whole life benefit, a whole life policy, right? Also known as, we like to call it, a permanent plan that will not expire, right? A lot of insurance companies are term. They're going to end at a certain age or after a certain amount of years. There's even some companies that talk about being a final expense program and they expire at age 80, right? And the clients don't really know. It's not something they really share or talk about. The agent doesn't mention it to them unless you read the small print. I've met folks who did have these companies, company, we won't mention the name, but she found out at 80 they dropped her and she was unhappy. She was never told that. And they just said, oh, it's in the paperwork. It was there. We told you, whatever. But we were able to help her out with the permanent policy. That was her first question at the door. Hey, Eric, I'm 80. Can I qualify? And is this a permanent plan? Is this a whole life? Because I don't want to do a term because I already got, burned with one of those. And I obviously told her what we were and how we work, and she was happy to get a policy, right? Third thing, you guys, is that the price is fixed, right? There's companies out there that raise their prices after a few years, right? Whether there's a term that ends and then it goes up in price, obviously the coverage also is going to go down. Or even some of these final expense programs that, they start fairly cheap, but the older you get, every 5 years or so, they go up in price. So again, I've helped multiple people that did have this particular company that keeps going up in price. And they told me like, hey, at first it was reasonable, $30, $40, and then it went up to 50 and then 80 and now 130. I can't pay that. But it just sucks because now all the money I paid is gone, right? So I showed her how my company is a fixed price. It will never go up, as well as the death benefit will never go down. What she's going to pay is never going to change unless she changes. Obviously, I've helped many people upgrade their policies. Sometimes they can only afford like a middle plan and then later they upgraded it, but it's more payment, but also more coverage because they decided to. But it's never going to change on them just for no reason, right? So that's an important thing. And again, a lot of people that we helped are retired, but some aren't. Some people are working still, and they don't really know how their budget is going to look like in the future. So they got to be able to count on something that even on their fixed income on Social Security, when they retire, they can afford it. So they know what they're working with and can plan that for their budget, right? So it's very important to have a fixed price when it comes to their final expense policy. And lastly, you guys, the ease of contacting the company in the time of need. Okay. Most companies out there work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. A few companies might, have be open a little bit on Saturday. I mean, there's companies that close at 12 Eastern time. So imagine if you are in the Pacific time zone and you're trying to get customer service, you got to wake up very early. You got to do it in the morning, or they're not going to help you, right? My company, you guys, we have a designated emergency line for claims that is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, including holidays, you guys. Someone passed away, they call this number and they start helping them with the process. Their job is to just walk the family through this tough process, one of the worst days of their lives, walk them through the do's and don'ts when it comes to dealing with funeral homes. We provide data to make sure they can make the best decision, and help them save money in the process by just kind of answering questions, reviewing even contracts when the family needs that type of help. But again, just providing information, because you'd be surprised how different the price can vary from one funeral home to the next within the same city, right? Or within the same town, or even county. So we've helped many clients save a lot of money with this benefit, with this emergency line. Because again, imagine a loved one pass away on a Friday at 5 p.m. and the offices are closed. They're not going to be able to talk to them until Monday, right? So the whole weekend, they already got a contract filled out with the funeral home, paid exorbitant fees and prices. When with us on a Friday, 5 p.m., they call us even the next day on Saturday and we're open, right? Christmas Day, someone's there to answer and assist. 4th of July, any weekend, they're available to obviously help out the family. So that's huge. In the time of need, when we don't do these things often, and when the hospital, tells you, hey, you're going to have to move mom or your husband because, we need the room now, and you don't know what to do, when my company provides that assistance in 24 hours to walk you step by step what to do, it makes a huge difference and part of our service when it comes to this final expense policy. Not just a customer service line that is only available 9 to 5 and that's not going to be able to help you until Monday, right? So that's another thing, you guys. So again, just wanted to share this. There's a lot of companies again out there that promote themselves as final expense. You might be looking at this to get more knowledge with it for your industry as an agent. You might be looking at this as to make a best decision as to what company to go for. But those are some of the questions that you're going to want to ask, some of the information you want to look at to make the best decision and make sure you know what you're in for and know how you're going to get the assistance and make the best decision. But again, I want to thank you guys for checking this out. Stay tuned for more content on this topic, and subscribe, give us a like, and I look forward to seeing you at the top. Have a great day.